Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tamassaka bihadihi ila yawm ad-din. Amma ba'd. Yeah, the spring water, the water, no water. Is there any water in the canteen? Other one? Pass me the tea, please. Have somebody get some water, please. Some spring water for the class.
Whoever came late.
Who had this last?
I can't say for class. Where do you want me to put this stuff?
Just sit on that chair back there.
Okay.
Al-Muhim, at the end of the day, we left off hadith number 13, the last hadith of the first chapter. And it's the hadith of Abi Waqid, radiyallahu anhu, al-Laythi, in which he reports that the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, said, ما قطع من البهيمة وهي حية فهو ميت أخرجه أبو داود الترمذي وحسنه واللفظ له. Abu Waqid narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, any part of a living animal that is cut off is considered to be mayyit. It's considered to be what? Mayyit. You have an animal that's living and you cut a piece of it off, let's say a sheep, a part of its fatty tail, and you cut it off and you wish to eat it as a delicacy or something like this. We say what? That's not halal. That part of that animal, that piece of meat or flesh or skin or fat is considered what? Mayyit. It's considered what? Mayyit. That's what this hadith means. The author, Hafidh bin Hajar rahimahullah, he says that the hadith is reported by Imam Abu Dawood and Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, who said or made tahseen of it, and the wording belongs to Tirmidhi. The main lesson from this hadith is not necessarily pertaining to water, but it is similar to what we mentioned about the couple other hadiths about a few rulings of the fly branches off, as we mentioned before, the two types of blood that are permissible to consume, and the two types of dead things that are permissible to consume. As-San'ani rahimahullah, he says, وَالْحَدِيثُ دَلِيلٌ عَلَى أَنَّ مَا قُطِعَ مِنَ الْبَهِيمَةِ وَهِيَ حَيَّةٌ فَهُوَ مَيِّتٌ مُحَرَّمٌ وسبب الحديث دال على أنه أريد بالبهيمة ذات الأربع والمعنى الأول لذكره الإبل فيه لا المعنى الأخير الذي ذكره في القاموس لكنه مخصوص بما أبين من السمك ولو كانت ذات أربع خيرا إن شاء الله. As we said before, the concept of the foods, the animals, is going to come later on in the later chapters. And we've also done classes on this before in Masjid Toba some years back in Kensington. Look at Imran, what good is the water back there? Can't drink long distance. That technology hasn't been discovered. Well, it's not available to us common folk yet. There's no Wi-Fi water. Imran, I don't need a cup, Imran. I have a canteen. That's why I bring the canteen. Sheikh Abu Sharif, what can I do? No, Sheikh, like just sit back and watch the next generation. Sheikh, I bring 2 canteens, no water. He brings a gallon of water, he goes and gets a cup. Someone makes the tea, someone opens up my tea flask, leaves it open, and has tea spilled everywhere.
All for me.
Yeah, I didn't say it was you.
I had to clear that up.
Abu Sharif, I try to make a system and they go against the system. What more can I do, Sheikh?
Somebody set you up.
Abdul Hakim, make sure the water is here. This is a routine. I said, oh man, I forgot my iPad. I forgot the class. I forgot the information. You be like, what do you mean, Mufti? You can't forget. Sahih? Right or wrong? Khalid? You wouldn't excuse me with that. I had a bad day. I have a migraine. I'm tired. I'm stressed. Sleepy. La. The machine, what? But the machine needs things. Oil, electricity, things. It's supposed to be clockwork. Water, camera, SD card, doom. Sahih. Right, khair inshallah. Moving on. Let's go on. Alright, so that hadith, it shows us what? Is that even if something is cut off the animal, if it's not the entire animal or piece, just a small piece, it is also mayyit. And what is mayyit is not slaughtered correctly. And it's unlawful to eat. And there are many people that have different delicacies with regards to certain parts of certain animals, such as the tail of the sheep, or such as the hump of the camel. And a person may say, why not just split the camel and or do this and not kill the whole entire thing? Everybody understand this? That's unlawful. And this was a practice by some of the Arab people. That's that hadith. Everybody understand it? It was a practice. It's something that they did. It's not necessarily that's going to be directly relative to your everyday life. But you'll be surprised what people do. Such as drinking blood. Okay, the concept of blood. Why do we even talk about blood? People who drink blood. And there's some people that take blood out of the cow while the cow was still standing there. Is this not the case, Sheikh? Everybody understand this? Okay, inshallah. The second chapter, the author, rahimahullah, he says, Al-Bab al-Thani, Bab al-Aniya. He says the chapter of vessels. The chapter of what? Vessels. Then that word Aniya is the plural of the word Ina. This is an Ina. This is an Ina. This is an Ina. It's a vessel, something that you carry something in. Specifically water. And the reason why this chapter, Yusuf, comes right after the first chapter, the chapter of water, is that in order to pray, you have to have wudu. In order to have wudu, you must have clean, pure water. And because the Prophet ﷺ said that he was given certain things that no other prophet was given, and from those specific things he was given, he says, وَجُعِلَتْ لَنَا الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا. He says, and the earth has been made as a means of prayer and spiritual purification, the tayammum. فَأَيُّمَا رَجُلٍ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي أَدْرَكَتْهُ الصَّلَاةُ فَلْيُصَلِّي أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. He says, any man from our nation who needs to pray when the time comes in, has to pray. In other words, there are some nations in which they were only allowed to pray in their temples. They were only allowed to do what? To pray in the specific places of worship. They were not allowed to pray every single way. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? And there's some nations in which if they did not have the water to purify themselves, then they couldn't pray. Not this nation. This nation Allah gave ultimate mercy to. So therefore, if you can travel and if you can pray anywhere at any time when it's time to pray, then you're going to need to take the water with you. So if you have to transport water, water may not always be available, then it only makes sense to know what means of transport is permissible and what means of transport is. Am I clear on this? And the manufacturing of today was nothing like the manufacturing of that time, as we said before. A very important point, a key point in understanding these hadiths. Why did the Prophet speak about this little bit about water and reusing water? Just cut on the shower, right? It's not like that, as we said before. Everyone can have the luxury of a hot, steamy shower for 10-15 minutes. Everybody clear on this? So therefore, to have a vessel, you had to slaughter an animal. You had to take the skin. It had to be cultured. It had to be dried. It had to be knitted in leather work, craftsmanship. It was very valuable. And that's why you're reading some hadiths. They say we fought this battle and we took pots and gauntlets. We took vessels as war booty. Who wants that? You just go to Walmart and buy a whole thing of pots and pans. There was no Walmart back then. You couldn't just come across stainless steel and have a clean canteen. It wasn't like that. Everybody understand this? It didn't exist like that. Metal was very expensive and very costly. And not even if it wasn't metal, if it was something that was organic, how do you make it? How does it craft it? How is it stitched? A garment. You read a hadith in which they traded clothes. Or even after the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the different colonial powers, when they took over different countries and indigenous people, they robbed them out of their land. They gave them garments. They agreed to give them clothes. Who would give away a diamond mine for clothes? That's how you look at it. But to them, they may have been very valuable clothes. Fine, woven fabrics. Stitched. Everybody understand this? So therefore, it's very important to know what vessels are permissible, what are impermissible. And more importantly, what vessels are najis and which are pure. Because the vessel, in most cases, the water skin is coming from an animal. Can you have the water skin of a dead animal? Does it have to be an animal that is slaughtered properly? And the list goes on. Everybody clear on this? And also metals, which we're going to get into now, about gold and silver. About what? Gold and silver. From the best teapots to have is a sterling silver teapot. It's known. Everybody understand this? From the best teapots to have is that made of silver. Can a Muslim have a silver teapot? We're going to study that now. Everybody clear on this? Khairan, inshallah. The author, he says, hadith number 14, عن حذيفة بن اليمان رضي الله عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تشربوا في آنية الذهب والفضة ولا تأكلوا في سحافهما فإنها لهم في الدنيا ولكم في الآخرة متفق عليه. تفضل شريف. Narrated who? Abu Hudayfa or Hudayfa? Okay, تفضل.
The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, do not drink from gold and silver vessels, and do not eat from gold and silver dishes. For they, the disbelievers, have them in this world, but you will have them in the hereafter.
Sorry, تفضل يوسف.
Should I say Abu or not?
Don't say Abu Hudayfa.
Narrated Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, do not drink from gold and silver vessels, and do not drink from gold and silver dishes, for they, disbelievers, have them in this world, but you will have them in the hereafter.
Sorry, Abu Sa'id. You don't have it?
What hadith?
Bulughul-Maram?
Go to sunnah.com. You can see it on sunnah.com.
No, Abu Sa'id has an exclusive copy I sent to him. Even though he tries to deny it, but I did send it to him.
Well, how was your mine?
I gave it to you also.
Oh,
I gave you the Arabic, yeah.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
you asked for Arabic.
Okay.
You want to read it in Arabic? Tfadal.
No, I was, what hadith? I'm sorry.
It's the first hadith of the second chapter. The author, he says, narrated Hudayfa, the son of Al-Yaman, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, لا تشربوا في آنية الذهب والفضة. It says, do not drink in gold and silver vessels. ولا تأكلوا في سحافهما. Nor eat in gold and silver platters, or from gold and silver platters. Because these utensils, or these plates and cups and bowls of gold and silver, are for the kuffar in this world, and they are for the believers and the next. And hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim. Now, which I know is that Hudayfa's kunya was Abu Abdullah and not Abu Hudayfa. I've never heard that ever. Allahu Alam. Al-Muhim. What does it say in the translation again? Read it one more time, Yusuf.
Narrated Abu Hudayfa?
No, the actual translation of hadith now. Khalid, next class, please bring the Dar al-Salam translation too. Inshallah. You gotta get it. Inshallah. Wherever it is. The narration says, seek knowledge even if you have to go to China. It's not authentic, but is his wisdom in it. Seek knowledge even if you have to go what? What would? That's right. Very far. طيب. تفضل.
Narrated Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, do not drink from gold and silver vessels, and do not drink from gold and silver dishes.
What? It says drink twice?
Huh?
Eat. Oh, and do not eat, sorry.
Okay.
Do not eat from gold and silver dishes. For they,
طيب. خير إن شاء الله. Okay. نعم نفيس تفضل. You want to read it? اقرأ.
Narrated Hudayfa bin al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not drink in silver or gold utensils. Do not drink in silver or gold utensils, and do not eat in plates of such metals. For such things are for them, the disbelievers, in parentheses, the disbelievers.
Try.
In this worldly life, for you in the hereafter.
Try. The hadith is authentic in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. And the main lesson from this hadith is teaching us some impermissible what? Vessels, utensils, or whatever you want to call them. Certain things that you are not allowed to drink from. Now, you may ask the question, what does that have to do with wudu? Because you said wudu, not eating and drinking. We say there's a connection, which is going to come later on. If some say you can't eat and drink out of it, then they say you cannot for ibadah. Everybody understand this? And the plates are not necessarily pertaining to the water carrying vessels. And when you study a book of hadith, the author is giving you a compilation and a sample of the hadiths regarding the topic. Pertaining to wudu, pertaining to eating, anything that's talking about what? Vessels and dishes. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? Very important concept. Everybody, and it's a benefit because these things are very similar to each other. That's why he mentioned those things about some of those animals, even though he was talking about the types of water. Everybody clear on this? As-Sanani rahimahullah, he says, الحديث دليل على تحريم الأكل والشرب في آنية الذهب والفضة وصحافهما سواء كان الإناء خالصا ذهبا أو مخلوطا بالفضة إذ هو مما يشمله أنه إناء ذهب وفضة. قال النووي إنه انعقد الإجماع على تحريم الأكل والشرب فيهما. The hadith proves is that it is unlawful to eat and drink in gold and silver gauntlets and platters, regardless whether it's pure gold or whether it's gold and silver mixed, because it's the same impermissible type of material. Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah says, or An-Nawawi says, is that there's no difference of opinion that it is haram to eat and drink in or from the two. There's no khilaf. In any madhab, a Muslim cannot eat a meal off of a silver platter, silver dish, nor can you drink from a silver cup, drink tea from a silver teapot, etc. He then says, وَاخْتُلِفَ فِي الْعِلَّةِ. Now the question is, why can't you? What is the reason why? The Messenger of Allah clearly says that you can't do it, but what would be some of the reasons that we would discover? Pride. So it's a means of pride, and the Muslim shouldn't have what? Pride. Oh Sayyid. Imitating the kuffar and following them in their ways. Extravagance. What else? So you guys mentioned 3 reasons now. Pride, following the kuffar, and extravagance. So look how those 3 things, now that broadens your whole entire understanding. Because it's no longer just talking about eating and drinking. And the sunnah is giving you a way of what? Life, thinking, everything. Don't be prideful in your clothes, your food, your vessels, your vehicles. When you want to marry your son off, stay away from what? Pride. The wedding banquet, the cake, the ring, the dowry. Avoid what? Pride. Avoid being extravagant. Avoid following. Everybody understand this? It's a bigger benefit now when you start looking at the wisdoms behind the hadith. Everybody clear on this? He then says, As-Sanani, he says, some say it's for pride. He then says, وَقِيلَ بَلِّ كَوْنِهِ ذَهَبًا وَفِضَّةً. And some say the reason why it's haram is because it's gold and silver. And gold and silver should be means of currency and not means of eating and drinking. People have to live off of gold and silver. People need money. Money keeps people in survival. Let alone you sit down and you have a meal off of someone's currency. He then says, وَاخْتَلَفُوا فِي الْإِنَاءِ الْمَطْلِي بِهِمَا هَلْ يُلْحَقُ بِهِمَا فِي التَّحْرِيمِ. Now, before we move on any further reading what he has to say, some other ulama, they say that it is a means of hurting other people's hearts. In other words, you're so rich, you have so much luxury, so much comfort, is that you can eat off of gold and silver and they barely have any food. They go to sleep hungry. A man has to light a fire with his children around to stay warm, and you're eating off of gold and silver. Everybody understand this? Whether it's this or whether it's that, whether it's all of the reasons, it is haram according to all of the fuqaha. There's no madhab stating that you what? Can do this. Everybody understand this? And that's the dalil to support it. He then says, another issue in Nafis is, what about something that's gold plated or silver plated? And the same applies to a watch or a ring with a man now. Is it permissible for you to have a silver plated vessel? Everybody understand this? Or is it the same? Everybody clear? That's an issue. Before we get to the answer, that's an issue that pertains to the foundation. The foundation is that a solid gold is what? Haram. Solid silver? Haram. Gold and silver mixed together? Haram. The next branch is, what about if it's just plated or gilded, as they say? Is it impermissible or not? And the same applies to one's wristwatch or an ink pen. Is it permissible to have an 18 karat, 14 karat gold or flash gold? Everybody understand this? Or old watches, you find an old pocket watch, and oftentimes you find some watches, the real good old watches are all solid gold. And we're not saying that's haram, okay? We're trying to make a point. Or sometimes they say rose gold. There's different types of plating and different types of levels of gold that's used upon another type of metal. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? So therefore, that's the next issue. Sanani says, فقيل إن كان يمكن فصلهما حرما إجماعا لأنه مستعمل الذهب والفضة وإن كان لا يمكن فصلهما لم يحرموا والآخر أنه أطلق عليه أنه إناء ذهب وفضة سمي به شمله لفظ الحديث وإلا فلا والعبرة بتسميته في عصر النبوة فإن جهلت فالأصل الحل. Now another issue after that, he discusses that issue about the plating, and he says is that it all depends. If it is called a gold cup or gold platter, then it takes the ruling, even if it's just what? Plated. And if they don't consider it gold or silver, then it's not necessarily the same ruling. Or it depends on what is in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, what they consider to be gold and silver. Everybody understand this? And the same applies to what? A wristwatch. The same applies to what? A wristwatch. Or a man wearing silk. Is it permissible for you to wear a silk blend? We know that pure silk is unlawful for a man to wear unless you have a skin condition. Everybody understand this? Or unless in the times of war, under one's armor. Under armor is not new. That's not new. That's not a new concept. Everybody understand this? That light material that allows you to breathe, allows you to move. That's not a new what? That's not a new concept. Even though you may think it's new. That's something they took from the old days. Men would wear silk under their armor for those same reasons. Everybody clear on this? Moving on. We don't go too far off topic, even though it's pertaining to the topic, but we don't go scare anybody. Right? Tayyib, like what is wrong with Mufti? What is he talking about? Tayyib. Al-Muhim, at the end of the day, the same ruling applies to the silk. Is it permissible for you to wear a tie that is blended with silk? Most ties are made from what? It's not 100% silk though, right? It's normally what? Everybody understand this? Can I have a gold-plated watch? Can I have a gold-plated pen? Everybody understand this? Or is it only haram when it's what? 100%. Everybody clear on this? The next issue is if you have a vessel that isn't gold or silver but it has a crack in it, and you mold the crack or you merge it back together with a piece of what? Gold and silver. Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand this? A third issue is, what is the ruling on using gold and silver vessels for other than eating and drinking? For other than what? Such as a vase or such as an ornament. Everybody understand this? You put it on your mantle. Is it permissible? Or is it also haram? Everybody understand these issues? Everybody clear on this? Everybody clear on this? Because the hadith says don't what? Eat and drink. And the hadith doesn't say anything else about what? Using. Everybody understand this? We're not going to discuss all these issues, but you're trying to get you the critical thinking of the hadith. And how you have one foundation, and from that foundation you do what? You branch off. Everybody understand this? Khayr inshallah. Sanani rahimahullah ta'ala, he goes on, he refutes the view of those who say that you can't use it for other than eating and drinking. And he says that it's only specific to what? Eating and drinking. There's a long technical issue of khilaf among the fuqaha. Some say it's haram, absolutely, because the wisdom is still there, the reason is still there. And others say it's only pertaining to what? Eating and drinking. A fourth branch is what is the ruling on eating and drinking from other expensive metals or stones, such as crystal. Can you have, platinum? Is there such thing as platinum?
Platinum is gold,
We need some jewelers in here. Or white gold. Everybody understand this? But let's leave off the but platinum, crystal. Let's say a person had a vase of jade. A jade bowl. Or ruby. Honestly. Pearls. Yeah, there's some crystals that are very expensive. Very costly. Certain types of crystals. Is that permissible? One may say that it's also what? Extravagance. And imitating the kuffar. And pride. And there are many issues like this in the sunnah in which you have a direct wording and then you have the wisdom and the reasoning. Which one do you go with? Everybody understand this? If you look at the reasoning behind the hadith, you would say that the crystal is also what? haram, because it's expensive and it's a means of pride and arrogance. But if you look at the wording, what the Prophet ﷺ said specifically, you say what? You can't say that, because he said eating and drinking in gold and silver. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? And of course, extravagance, it varies from person to person. To some people, having a crystal vase or crystal cups is not that expensive with the money that he makes. But to the next man who's barely struggling to get by, it's considered to be what? Extravagance. Rather, an Islamic principle is that if Allah gives you a certain amount of wealth and you choose to have poor quality things, very inexpensive things, that could be a means of you showing off. That could be a means of what? You showing off. Or it could be a means of you being a miser. Or it could be a means of you not thanking Allah for His blessings. Everybody clear on this? In other words, the President of the United States, can he wear a plastic wristwatch?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he's going to meet this king, this person, this prime minister, this ambassador, and he has on a Casio wristwatch. It's disrespectful for what he's representing, the money that he makes, his lifestyle. Him having a presidential Rolex is not necessarily considered extra at all. But for him to say, I really don't care about time, I just like this watch, they were like, what is this guy trying to prove? Everybody understand this? Let alone the blessings that Allah has given you. The hadith states that when the man came to the Prophet ﷺ, he says, do you have any wealth? He says, yes. He says, what type of wealth do you have? He says, I have animals, I have farmland. He says, I have slaves, I have this, I have that. Allah has given me a lot of things. He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا أَنْعَمَ عَلَى الْأَبْدِ أَحَبَّ أَنْ يُرَى أَثَرُ النِّعْمَةِ عَلَيْهِ أَوْ كَمَا قَالَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. He says Allah loves to see the signs of His blessings when He blesses a slave. Everybody understand this? You work hard, you have money, you should be dressed what? Presentable. And what's extravagant to you may not be extravagant to the next man. Everybody understand this? Or one's profession. One's profession. You may think it's a lot of money to pay hundreds of dollars for a pocket watch or for an ink pen. But if I use it in my profession and this is how I keep my time, I say that's not extravagant to you. Rather, your shoes are extravagant. Or your pants are extravagant. I wear thobe. I don't need everybody to see my... Everybody understand this? It's relative from what? Person to person. Everybody clear on this? It's relative from what? Person to person. It's a very important Islamic concept. And that is to keep balance. Khairan inshallah. Hadith number 15. The author says, وَعَنْ أُمِّ سَلَمَةَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهَا قَالَتْ قَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الذي يشرب في إناء الفضة إنما يجرجر في بطنه نار جهنم متفق عليه. Narrate Salama radiallahu anha, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, he who drinks from or in a silver vessel is only swallowing the fire of hell into his belly. And hadith is in Sahih Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim. Further Sharif.
Narrated Salama radiallahu anhu, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever drinks from the silver vessel is but filling his abdomen with hellfire.
It's but what? Is but filling his abdomen with the hellfire. The hadith is authentic in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, and it proves what the previous hadith has proved, that it's unlawful to drink from what? Not gold. Taqillah. And then said anything about gold, it said what? Silver. Everybody understand this? So now on the issue, how many hadiths do you have to support your argument? 2. Everybody clear on this? Khairan inshallah. And this hadith also tells us that the hellfire is a reality. And drinking from a silver vessel is a major sin. It's a what? Major sin. It's not just something that's disliked and looked down upon, but it's what? A what? A major sin from the kaba'ir. Waliyadu billah. Khair inshallah. Let's move on to hadith number 16. Wa alaikum salam. The author says, وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دبغ الإهاب فقد طهر أخرجه مسلم أو مسلم وإن الأربعة أيما إهاب دبغ فقد طهر. طيب. The author says, hadith number 16, narrated Abdullah ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما, the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم says, whenever the animal's skin or the hide from the animal is tanned, then it has become pure. Then it has become what? Pure. And this hadith is in Sahih Muslim. There's another version in the Sunan, the 4 books of Sunan, the book of Imam Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, and Ibn Majah, that states, Ayyuma ihabin, says any hide, any skin of an animal that is tanned and treated, then it is now what? Pure. Everybody understand this? Read the translation, Yusuf.
Narrated Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, if the animal skin is tanned, it becomes pure.
Keep reading.
Narrated the four Imams.
It says the four Imams. Most people in here are going to think about the four Imams of fiqh. And that's totally wrong. Follow?
Tanning any skin purifies it.
Tanning any skin purifies it. Khair, inshallah. This hadith, what is the main lesson we take from this hadith, Sufyan? Oh, you forgot that name?
No, I remember just now. The main lesson to take is any animals just tan, it's permissible.
Abdul Hakim. Khalid. What's the main lesson from this hadith?
That something impure can become pure.
What's the main lesson from this hadith? The main lesson from this hadith is that it's permissible to take vessels from animal skin. The permissibility of having a water skin. The permissibility of having a what? A water skin. We spoke about two types of vessels already. And they are what? Vessels of gold and or silver. Khalas, those are haram. Don't make wudu out of those things. Don't drink out of those things. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? Now we're talking about another type of vessel, which is a vessel that's made from what? Animal skin, which is far more cost efficient, lighter, easier to make, produce, etc. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? So therefore, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that when the skin of the animal is tanned, it now becomes what? Tahura, pure. And if it's pure, then you can now put water, carry it around, make wudu, make ghusl, drink, etc. Everybody understand this? This is how this hadith pertains to the chapter. It's permissible, but with the condition that the skin has to be tanned. It has to be treated, not right off of the animal. Everybody clear on this? Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand the main lesson from the hadith? The main lesson from the hadith. Everybody clear? Is that when an animal, the skin is tanned, or the skin is pure, is cleansed, according to the people's customs, it is now permissible to be used to transport water in, to make wudu in, or from. Everybody understand this? Khairan, inshallah. Moving on. As-Sanani rahimahullah, he then says, وقد روي بألفاظ وذكر له سبب وأنه صلى الله عليه وسلم مر بشاة ميتة لميمونة فقال ألا استمتعتم بإيهابها فإن الدباغ الأديم طهور. وروى البخاري من حديث سودة قالت ماتت لنا شاه فدبغنا مسكها ثم ما زلنا ننتبذ فيها حتى صار شنا. والحديث دليل على أن الدباغ مطهر لجلد ميتة كل حيوان كما يفيده عموم كلمة أيما وأنه يطهر باطنه وظاهره. He mentioned some stories behind this hadith. Is that the Prophet ﷺ, one of his wives, they had a sheep that died. They were carrying it as if they were going to discard it. And he says, why don't you what? Use it. Why don't you benefit from it? The sheep died. It wasn't slaughtered. He says, why don't you benefit from it? And they said what? He says, and then she said that it's dead. And then he said what? Any skin that is tanned is pure. Everybody understand this? Khairan inshallah. Khairan inshallah. Tayyib. He says this hadith proves is that the skin of every single animal or all animals is what? Pure when it is treated. All animals, including a pig, cow, fox, etc. Based off of the wording that says ayyuma, any skin. Everybody clear on this? That's based off of the hadith. What do the fuqaha say? Is it permissible to use pigskin? Football? Things like this? That's secondary. But the generality of the hadith says what? Any skin. Any what? Any skin. He then says, and it also proves is that both the inside and the outside are both now what? Pure. Because some fuqaha, they may say only the outside and not the inside. Everybody understand this? He says what? Both. And there's a huge difference between the two rulings. There's a what? A huge difference between lying upon something, a table spread, covering something, and you drinking from the inside of the skin. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? He then says, وَفِي الْمَسْأَلَةِ سَبْعَةُ أَقْوَالٍ. And he says there are 7 views of the people of knowledge on this issue. Regarding what? Skins. Are they absolutely haram? Are some of them permissible? The outside without the inside, etc. Everybody understand this? Perhaps we'll run through these opinions briefly, without the dalil, and explicitly going over their arguments. The first view, he says, يطهر جلد الميت باطنه وظاهره ولا يخص منه شيء. Is that is absolute. All types of skin from all types of animals, inside and what? Outside. That's the first opinion. And he goes to mention those who took this view and why they took this view. Everybody clear on this? الثاني وأظهر الأقوال دليلا لا يطهر الدباغ أو لا يطهر الدباغ أو لا يطهر الدباغ شيئا. He says that nothing is pure, period. Nothing whatsoever. Is that all skins are what? Unlawful and impermissible for you to be used. Is that the strong view? We're not getting to that right now. Number 3. He then says, he mentions a very long detailed argument, and also those who take it. يطهر جلد ميتة المأكول لا غيره. He says only the skins of animals whose flesh can be consumed. Only the skin of animals whose flesh can be what? So you would only tan or treat the skin of a what? Cow, sheep, goat, camel, perhaps a bison, buffalo, things like this. Not a pig, not a fox, not a dog. Everybody understand this? Not a snake, not an alligator. No gators, Umar. Huh? Where your gators from? Allah musta'an. Pink, green, Allah musta'an. Tayyib, khair inshallah. Everybody understand this? The 4th view, he says, يطهر الجميع إلا الخنزير فإنه لا جلد له وهو مذهب أبي حنيفة. He says is that all skins are clean and they're permissible to be used except for that of a pig, that of a swine, a hog. And he says because it doesn't have any skin. That's what he said. He said that the pig doesn't have any skin. Tayyib, that's the madhab of Abi Hanifa. We'll just mention that, just to mention that. Al-Khamis, number 5. يطهر إلا الخنزير. Is that what? Everything is pure except for the pig. But it's different reasoning. He doesn't necessarily say that the pig doesn't have skin. But he says what? Is that it's rijis, it's najis, it's filthy itself. As-sadis. يطهر الجميع لكن ظاهره دون باطنه فيستعمل في اليابسات دون المائعات ويصلى عليه ولا يصلى فيه. He then says, the 6th opinion is that all skins become clean and pure on the outside and not in the inside. So you can use it for dry matter but not for fresh or liquids. Everybody understand this? Is a huge difference, and that's also very important for you to understand the concept of najasa. The najasa that's dry is not like the najasa that is what? Wet. It's fresh. It's a difference. Everybody clear it? You can just brush it off, but the najasa that's wet must be washed. Everybody clear on this? So therefore a person could pray atop of it, but he cannot pray wearing it. You can't wear the leather, but you can lay the leather down as a what? A mat, a rug. Everybody clear on this? The 7th and final opinion, he says, يُنْتَفَأُ بِجُلُودِ الْمَيْتَةِ وَلَمْ تُطْبَغْ ظَاهِرًا وَبَاطِنًا. Is that a person can use the skin even if it isn't tanned. Even if it isn't what? Even if it isn't tanned. We say these are 7 views from the fuqaha, and this one issue is a benefit to us, but it's greater than just this issue. It's teaching you to broaden your scope and fiqh in general. And that this is a deep sea, a deep ocean. And if you're not willing to plunge into that deep ocean and swim and dive deep, then don't what? Only take the basics on the coast, the shoreline. Everybody understand this? And you should refrain from speaking to my issues of which you have no knowledge. And also to respect the Islamic scholarship. Everybody understand this? It's to respect the what? Islamic scholarship, that it gets deep. We didn't mention the dalil, who said it, their arguments. We just summarized 7 views on one issue. Everybody clear on this? The strongest view, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best, is that any skin that is tanned is permissible. Anything. As long as it is tanned. As long as it's what? Treated. That's the opinion that I feel is the strongest. My personal view. Wallah. Huh?
For wet or dry.
Any skin that is tanned is permissible to use. Inside, outside, sheep, pig. أيما إهاب دبغ فقد طهر. إذا دبغ الإهاب فقد طهر. والله أعلم. We mentioned 7 views from among the ulama. He then says, hadith number 17. وسلمة بن المحبق رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دباغ جلود الميتة طهورها. He says, when you tan the skin, it purifies it. It cleans the skin. It cleans the what? The skin. He then says, وهو يدل على ما دل عليه حديث ابن عباس وفي تشبيهه الدباغ بالذكاء إعلام بأن الدباغ في التطهير بمنزلة تذكية الشاة في الإحلال لأن الذبح يطهرها ويحل أكلها. He says this hadith proves the same thing that the hadith of Ibn Abbas has proved. خير إن شاء الله. Moving on. Hadith number 18. وعن ميمونة رضي الله عنها قالت مر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بشاة يجرونها فقال لو أخذتم إهابها فقالوا إنها ميتة فقال يطهرها الماء والقرض. The hadith of Maymuna, hadith number 18. The Prophet passed by a sheep that they were dragging, and he says, why didn't you take and benefit from its skin? She said, because it's dead, it wasn't slaughtered. And he says that the skin is purified with water and certain minerals, certain types of salt and crystals and things like this used upon the skin, put in the sun, it becomes what? Clean. It becomes clean. Khair inshallah. Moving on. Now.
To the leaves of cat here.
In other words, there were what? There were certain types of materials that they used that were known to the Arabs to do what? To clean it, get rid of any smell, any bacteria, and also to dry it out with the water and with the sun. We say that, however, it's whatever's known to the people. So that's a customary issue. The time of the Prophet ﷺ is not necessarily an obligation that you use the same thing today. If we have chemicals that do it faster and better, everybody understand this? Khair inshallah. Hadith number 19. The author says, وَنَبِي ثَعْلَبَةَ الْخُشَنِيِّ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ قَالَ قُلْتُ يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِنَّا بِأَرْضِ قَوْمٍ أَهْلِ كِتَابٍ أَفَنَأْكُلُ فِي آنِيَتِهِمْ قَالَ لَا تَأْكُلُوا فِيهَا إِلَّا أَن لَا تَجِدُوا غَيْرَهَا فَاغْسِلُوهَا وَكُلُوا فِيهَا. Narrated Abu Tha'laba, his name, the father of Tha'laba al-Khushani radiallahu anhu, that he says, O Messenger of Allah, we live in a land in which there are Jews and Christians. Can we eat from their vessels? Can we eat off their plates and cups and spoons and things like this? He says, do not eat therein. Do not eat from them. Do not eat in those plates and those bowls unless that's the only thing that you have. Unless it's what? The only thing that you have. He says, so wash them out and you can eat from them. Wash them out and what? And eat from them. We'll take the explanation of this hadith hopefully with the next subhanahu in next week's class with regards to eating from the plates and the bowls of the kuffar. And it's a very pertinent issue, especially to America. You go over your grandmother's house, is it permissible for you to eat meal from her? She cooks pork, she drinks wine, she cooks meat that isn't slaughtered correctly. Is it permissible for you to eat from those pots? Or going to the restaurant? Going out to eat. Is it permissible to eat from those vessels? We'll take that in next week's class. Bidnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Another issue is also the kuffar themselves. Are they clean? Is the sweat from a kafir's hand pure or najis? Their clothes. Can you buy second-hand clothes? When you go to Macy's, you try on a shirt. And George just put it on. Nah. It's real. Nah, George's not Muslim. Not in this Macy's. In this Macy's...
He also came from the gym.
Okay,
Perhaps it was cold outside.
طيب والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله محمد. Inshallah, we'll try to take any questions. May Allah make it easy for us.
Somebody got it. Press it. Press it again.
Father Sharif.
Oh, sorry. What for the utensils? Can you know how to have silver like utensils, like the forks and spoons? Is that the same concept?
Question says a silver spoon or a silver fork. We say yes and no. From one aspect, it's attached to it because it has the same wisdom behind it and it's similar. But from another aspect, it isn't. A fork or spoon is not necessarily a bowl or a cup. So therefore, you should avoid it. If it's something that's doubtful, avoid it. And some of the people of knowledge have said that it's absolutely haram to have anything of gold with regards to your eating utensils. They say a teacup, spoon, a fork, anything like this. And Allah knows best. So you should avoid it, inshallah. Follow on.
You mentioned regards to 7 views, regards to the fuqaha, regards to the skin. Now, even the pig skin, the strongest view is permissible to touch. Now, while it's not tan, that means you can handle it in order to make it tan. Does that mean that touching...
Handling it is one thing.
Or touching it just...
Handling it is different. Whether you have on gloves, or even if someone else handles it. The Muslims don't have to deal with the pig. But you go to the market and you buy a football. Or you buy a Diane brush or Ann brush. When I used to be a barber, the finest brushes are the brushes made from the boar hair. Okay? I'm trying to prove a point. And that's also similar to Sharif's question. Is that the hadith doesn't say anything about hair. But the fuqaha, they join them together. Hair similar to skin. The point we're trying to get to is what? Is that just because something is permissible according to a view, doesn't mean that you have to handle it yourself. Everybody understand this? Doesn't mean that it's what? Doesn't mean that you have to what? Handle it. You buy a product and the product was bought with riba. The product was sold. Someone didn't own the product. Anything else that's haram. I go into the store that has nothing to do with what? I don't have to handle it.
But can you touch it?
Can you touch? The general rule is that najasa is to be avoided. Najasa, the general rule is najasa is never to be made direct contact with unless it's necessity. Unless it's what? Necessity. Anything that's najis, blood, the blood of menses, or postnatal bleeding, stool, urine, anything that's considered to be Islamically najis, the Muslim is not to have direct contact with it without a barrier unless it's what? Necessity. Unless it's necessity. Wallahu ta'ala alam. You have any questions from the brothers and the sisters? Or not, before we move on to questions here? Follow up, Hakim.
Why is it permissible to eat from the people of the book but not eat in their vessels?
It says, why would it be permissible to eat from the people of the book and not eat in their vessels? That's going to come what? In next week's class. Everybody understand this? That's going to come what? In next week's class. And that's the proof that some of the people of knowledge use to prove that it's what? Permissible to eat out of those vessels. Any other questions? Fadl.
Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is very specific in the hadith pertaining to eating or drinking in gold and silver.
Okay.
Where is the link that says you can't use it for any other purpose, like for example a watch or a pin?
The question is, the Prophet ﷺ was very specific with regards to eating and drinking from gold and silver vessels or utensils. What is the proof or what is the link between jewelry and things like this? We say that the jewelry issue is totally different. There are other hadiths that deal with gold. That's different. The link is pertaining to food utensils, such as knives, spoons, forks, and I'm sure there are other different names of things that, the traditional Victorian people know. It's a whole etiquette of eating, what you can and cannot eat. Soup, bread, how to slice the bread, how to put on the butter. Honestly, just read about it. It's a whole fiqh of the proper civilized way to dine. Everybody understand this? And they have a million different things on the table that are from silver. This is a thing for butter. This is a thing for the olives. This is for the seeds. This is for kada. This is for kada. You understand what I'm saying? That is those are the things in which there's what? A link. As far as a gold watch, then those are other hadith that make it haram for a Muslim man to have gold. And the general Islamic rule of jewelry. In general, I said in general, not specifically, jewelry is for a woman. Jewelry is not necessarily for a man in Islam. There are certain exceptions to the rule, such as a ring, such as some narrations mention a decorative hilt of a sword or a handguard of a sword. But the general rule is that a man is not to wear jewelry. Everybody understand this? Let alone gold jewelry. Let alone what? Gold jewelry. That has nothing to do with the food issue. The food issue is only pertaining to cups, plates, bowls, pictures, and anything, according to that view, according to those ulama, that is attributed to eating. Everybody understand this? Like we said about the Victorian age. As far as gold jewelry, that's different. Gold cufflinks, some ulama even say a gold pin, like Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah, says a gold ink pin you can't wear. Everybody clear on this? And others may say differently. That's a different issue of daleel. Wallahu alam. Fadal.
He had to explain it, but person asked, is it permissible to brush our hair with a boar hair brush?
Is it permissible to brush one's hair with a boar hair brush? We just mentioned that. And I would say the view that seems to be most correct to me is that it's permissible whereas the hair has been treated, has been tanned, it is not wet, it is not fresh, it is as if it's a different... Aywa. Wallahu alam. Follow up on me.
What are we using at home? That's not silver.
What are we using at home that's not silver? Me personally, I mean... Yeah, I don't know what you're using at home. It's been so long since you invited me over your house.
Stainless steel, metal.
I thought it's silver.
It's been so long, huh?
Stainless steel.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm not a metal smith or a spoon smith or a fork smith. That's not my profession or my trade. But I would say that it could be stainless steel, could be other materials. There are even different types of levels of forks. It's some types of stainless steel that's very expensive. And it's quality. You pick it up, it's white. You feel the weight. It's a weapon. Everybody understand this? And that's one of the good qualities of silver is that silver is relatively light. And it's also relatively soft. It's relatively what? Soft. I had a pocket watch once. Illinois pocket watch, very old. It was all solid sterling silver. Everything was silver. Everything. Front to back was silver. Everybody understand this? I bought it from New York City. Okay, at the end of the day, the point we're trying to get to is that I don't know what's in your kitchen, or what's under your sink. Allah, okay? At the end of the day, in most cases, it's probably going to be stainless steel or blend and alloy, different types of metals put together. Depends on the quality of the fork or the spoon. Depends on the what? The quality of it.
Is a silver coated counted as silver?
You came late.
I'm sorry, I missed.
You came what, Abu Sharif? We and subhanAllah, look at the benefit, how he mentioned that, huh? What is Mufti talking about? Why he going on, right? For one thing, learn what? Follow. We say that some of the people knowledge, they say yes, it's included. That's what I mean. Some of them say that it takes the same ruling. And others say it doesn't. Avoid it if you feel doubtful on it. Follow.
You mentioned in regards to the gold and silver that it's a form of currency that people used to back in the days and it's been used as food, like a vessel. So now platinum, in another hand, right now in the market is more higher than gold in price now.
Okay.
And the hadith not state platinum as a
okay. Is platinum a currency though?
Currency.
Is it a currency?
It was never used in history as a currency.
Yes or no?
But you can
I'll offer you this cup. Shamil. Here, take this cup. Come get some water. Come on. Huh? Whose phone is that? I feel sorry for him. Huh? You need more? That's good enough? You sure? Okay. Fine. Drink it. Bismillah. That's what your mind is like right now. Overflowing. I can't pour anything in it. So anybody else before we stop?
You say Bismillah before you drink it, man?
That's what I mean.
Question from the sister is it permissible to do body piercing like with
Tayyib. Is it permissible to do body piercings with what? Gold and silver. We have a general rule, brother. Omar, would you like a cup? Tafaddal. Get your whole, bring the gallon. Please, somebody go get that gallon. Sharif, hurry up. Hurry up, Sharif. Are you sure? You about to say you about to get tafaddal? It's okay, I don't have. Tafaddal. We have no problem sharing the microphone.
You bought a gallon. You bought a gallon.
Okay, tayyib. We say the general rule is, first and foremost, is that a woman is allowed to enjoy gold. Okay? A woman can wear gold. A woman can wear any type of gold, whether it's circular or not. That's weak. That's da'if. That view that says that you can't have circular gold is not strong. Everybody understand this? A woman is allowed to wear what? Gold, period. Earrings, bracelet, anklets, tennis bracelet, as the poet said. And the list goes on. Everybody understand this? A woman can wear gold. As far as silver, that's not specific to a woman. A man can wear silver as well, as we said, a ring. A man can have a silver pen. A silver sword, a gold, silver spear. Everybody understand this? There's nothing wrong with silver for a man. The concept is only with what? Gold. A woman can wear gold jewelry. The next issue is piercing. Is it permissible in modern days or the modern times for a woman to get different piercings? We say the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ specifically talks about earrings. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the women, they took off their earrings and they threw them for sadaqah. Everybody understand this? So therefore there's nothing wrong with what? Earrings. The question is now, is it permissible for a person to get a nose ring, a woman to get a nose ring? Or as some people, they may have the nose ring connected to the ear, or upper parts of the earlobe, the belly button, and other places, that we won't mention for now. Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand this? It's two ways of looking at it. The first way of looking at it is that it's something that Allah and His Rasul did not speak on. Allah and His Rasul did not talk about it. And if Allah and His Rasul didn't speak on it, then it goes back to the asl, which is, that is halal, permissible. Everybody understand this? The asl is that things, acts are permissible until they're proven to be impermissible, as it clearly explained by the ulama from many verses and hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ. Everybody clear on this? That's one way of looking at it. Someone can say there's no proof saying that a piercing is haram. Another way of looking at it is, someone may say this is a means of imitating the kuffar, and something that is originally an act of getting closer to Satanism. The concept of piercing. The concept of piercing different parts of the body, the nose, the tongue, the lip, other parts, one's genitals, one's breasts, etc. Some people, they may say that type of pain and that type of deforming of one's body is a means of Satanism, of worshiping the devil, and a means of spirituality of idolaters. And if you do that, even though it's different now, it's modern 2016, they say it still goes back to that asl. And they may say that that's haram. And when you read about the different religious practices of the mushrikeen, they did certain things like this. Okay, so it's more than one way what? It's more than one way of what? Looking at it. If you take the second view, then it also has to apply to many other things that you do that are originally practices of what? Mushrikeen. We mentioned the other day, certain foods that you eat, certain things that you drink originally come from what? The practice of the people of shirk. And that's why they did it. Christian practice is to eat like this, and to say this, and to wear this, and to dress like that. Okay? Why? The way your house is built. Where's the door? How the door is shaped. There's many, many different superstitions. Plants. Is it permissible to have a plant in your house? When you read about the origin of plants, it's 101% superstition. The concept of good omens, bad omens. Good luck, bad luck. Read. Just read. The information is there. Okay? And then look at America. Where does the culture of America come from? It comes from the people of shirk. The Romans, the Greeks, the Anglo-Saxons, way before Christianity came. And then later on, Christianity came and dominated the European continent. Everybody understand this? So if you say that you can't get a piercing because it is originally from the people of shirk, then you got to apply it to many other what? Many other what? Many other aspects. So it's dangerous. So therefore, if a person want to get a piercing, okay, and it wasn't that outlandish, I think that piercings vary. Me personally. Piercings vary. A woman getting her belly button pierced is not like getting a face pierced or something that's through your cheeks. There's levels. Allahu alam. You have to do what you feel safest. If it's doubtful to you, then avoid it. If you feel that it's permissible and there's nothing stating that it's haram and it's a means of adornment and it's only to be seen by your husband, Bismillah. There's two ways of looking at the issue.
What does it mean to change the creation of Allah?
To change the creation of Allah.
Like in terms of, yeah.
Changing the creation of Allah is two ways of understanding that. One is general, one is specific. The general way is changing the creation of Allah. And the specific is doing things that the Prophet ﷺ himself said was changing what? Such as the eyebrows, such as widening the teeth, sharpening the teeth. Everybody understand this? But there are many other things that are permissible, which changes the creation of Allah, such as shaving. Everybody understand this? Some ulama say that a woman can't shave any hair from her body. Some of them say that she can't shave hair from her face if she has a mustache or hair on her chin. Wallahi. Some of the Salaf al-Salih, they said this. And they said that it's what? Changing the creation of Allah. Think about it when you get married, akhi. Your wife may be hairier than you.
May Allah protect us.
May Allah give you what was destined for you. I mean, everybody understand? Everybody understand this? So there has to be a balance. And that's a broad statement. Getting a haircut. Is that changing Allah's creation? Or what's meant by changing Allah's creation is altering the body ultimately. Getting a tattoo, which in most cases is difficult to be removed or can't be removed. Getting a type of surgery. Everybody understand this? But a piercing is not necessarily changing Allah's creation. It's a piercing. It's a hole. Everybody understand this? It's not like getting fake this, fake that, nose this, fake skin, dark. Everybody understand this? One may say it's haram to get a tan. Many people that fair skin, very pale skin, they hate their skin complexion and they want to get what? Tans is a cult in the modern world. People love tans. Is that haram? Or for a person to get it? So, some people, many people of color, they hate their skin complexion. And it's deep how Allah makes people. That both sides, they want to be like the next side. This is interesting. Okay, is it permissible to get your skin bleached? That is something which is ultimately what? Changing Allah's creation. But a piercing may not necessarily be the same. Everybody understand this? Wallahu ta'ala alam. We said there are two ways of looking at it. Go what you feel most comfortable with. Wallahu alam.
Most of the piercing, if you remove that earring or thing.
Closes up. Wallahu alam.